What's up? I can't talk. What's up, everybody? This is Mal with Nifty Culture. I'm joined by a friend of the show, Larry P., who was part of the Walk Walk Island when we had Jason Safey on recently. And I'm joined now by a 12-year-old with a credit card that we are going to call 12 from here on out to talk about the CrypToadz project, a big project that I missed that's just been on a run and a tear. How are you guys doing?
Doing well.
Euphoric.
Why are you euphoric?
Just had the highest sell on my CrypToadz yet. Sold one of my ghosts for 125 and 69.69 ETH.
That's quite 125.69 ETH on a ghost toad.
Yeah.
What a time to be alive.
That I think I bought like 2 weeks ago.
So you've been flipping a lot of these toads. You were joking before we went live that at one point you had the highest buy and the highest sale, and those aren't necessarily good things. But right now, the toad mania is going crazy with the artists behind it and everything else. Can you give us, being one of the first, and I think you got in right at the beginning, can you give us a little bit of background on the project and what got you excited to invest?
I mean, yeah, like when people always talk about NFTs and investing, because I just kind of see it as like collecting. And I'm not really like an NFT flipper. I more sold. And I'll get into the reason why we sold it. But yeah, so I missed the mint sadly because it was a casual mint. So Gremplin, he's kind of a big artist. Helped with Nouns Down. He's a lot of great stuff on Rareable, so you guys should check his stuff out. So he's just one of the coolest NFT artists, and I've been told the story many times now that it started kind of a meme on the Punks Discord where he was making these kind of toads, and then eventually kind of evolved into something a lot more. And so as they created this collection, I think they generated like over 20,000, and he had a bunch of friends go and they hand selected like what were the best. And so if you ever see like why I think that's one of the reasons why it took off is because there's not a single bad toad. It's because even though it's like a generative thing, like profile pic project, they hand curated the 6,969 best. So I got shout out to like all those guys. I mean, I know the biggest one everyone loves to shout out to is Modi. Dude's awesome. And if you go on there like to Twitter, they always share pictures of like how they had all these 20,000-30,000 photos, and they were just going through and picking what looked the best. And so what they did is they started like a Discord server and kind of build a little bit of hype. And then as the mint came out, they closed the server so there's no more invites, and it was just for people in there. And so it was a casual mint, I think, for like probably a few $100, like not much. And the mint sold out, fast. And then, instantly I kind of like, became popular. I mean, a bunch of like people from the Punks. That was the first, I think, like social validation for a lot of people was that people in the Punks Discord started buying up like the floor in these. And so I remember on like the first day, it already hit like 0.7. So I track a lot of stuff like on Nansen, and so I have a lot of like smart wallet alerts, and I've never seen like a project which had like the holy trifecta. Like I was seeing people Fidenzas buying them, I've seen people with Punks buying them, and I've seen people with like Bored Apes buying them, and I was like, oh crap, this is the next trend. So I was just trying to, so I was like just trying to look for kind of what vibed, and so I think the first one I got was like 11 ETH, and so that was maybe the second highest or third highest sell at the time. So I got that one, and then so then I started buying some floor ones, and I gave a ton of floor ones all to friends, and now they're like, oh my god, like this is one of the best gifts ever. And then eventually I bought 2 more ghosts. I bought that one. I think that one I bought for like 20 ETH, and then I bought another Ghost Bones for 25. But yeah, and so this one, if you see, we auctioned it off on Party Bid, which is like a crowd raising for an NFT. because as I was collecting up the ghosts, I became friends of a lot of the other holders. I think there's like 20 of them. And so we were all becoming close friends, and we all wanted to create other projects in like the Toad community. So what we decided to do was we create like a DAO, and eventually the floor was rising really fast. You know, got to like 100 ETH floor, and so people are like I want in, but like I can't afford 100 ETH, and I know that's like there's a lot of money. So we talked to the Party DAO guys, and they were just awesome. So they helped us set us up, and so anyone who contributed into it got a ghost. The token's called Ghost, and allows them to participate in the DAO too. So we like to call ourselves like the DAO of DAOs. We're like an incubator for like other NFT projects. So our first DAO we just launched was Socks DAO, and they basically kind of like set up a claim where anyone who owns a toad can mint a pair of socks NFTs that gets sent straight to their door. And it's fucking awesome. Like, and people are like, how can you afford that? And we're like, I don't know. Like, well, you know, we'll just, that's kind of the thing is like, the crypto version of like break things, move fast. Like we're just trying to create cool shit and just see if it sticks. So I think that was kind of like viral, and so that gave more interest in the Ghost DAO. So now I think like 200 people contributed to there. So now we've grown the community, and so we're gonna find more ways to try to keep growing the Ghost DAO because there's a lot of cool projects, and a lot of people have been hitting us up for ideas they want to help with, like they want to invent or they want to innovate, but a lot of times people don't have the resources for that, and that can be financial reasons. Or I found a lot of times if someone says, hey, I get 3-4 DMs of this every few hours, says, hey, I have X skill sets and I want to contribute, but I don't know where. And so it's kind of also become where we start like moving people around and saying like, hey, like this person's a dev and you're an artist. Like, why don't you guys work on this together? Or people say like they kind of need a little guiding. And so since a lot of the collectors of the Ghost now have kind of fallen into, I would say, some of like the top collectors in the space. If you like, I don't need a name drop. Just look through the wallets of the people and see what what they're holding, and names.
Yeah, no, and I completely. It's the excitement around this project is just insane. And what's interesting is Larry and I have chatted behind the scenes for a number of months now, and his background in the more traditional art and fine art landscape. When he started talking about the toads, I'm like, Larry, this feels out of character, because I was looking at it from a superficial lens, and you started describing to me in some of the ways that this is true art and it's truly unique, and I think it's cute. They're unique, and I think there's a lot of cool stuff here that it's different than a lot of the other PFP projects, and I think this could be a PFP, but I also think it looks great on its own. Can you offer some context and nuance of your critique and why you're willing to embrace this project the way you have?
Yeah, well, I have some familiarity with Gremplin in the sense that I was following the Nouner project and the Nouns DAO, and I realized really quickly that I probably wouldn't be able to ever really afford one, so I kind of moved on from that. And when I first heard about Toads, I actually missed the mint, and I was working on a project, as you alluded to earlier, and so I've been super busy with that, and I missed the mint. And sometimes when I miss mints, I'm like, okay, well, on to the next. But yeah, I mean, I was really struck by them, and they did look, have some familiarity with the nouns and stuff like that, and so I just kind of fell in love with them. I thought they were really cute, and they were also like, I don't know, they were great kind of meme trolly kind of imagery that I thought would really kind of lend itself to a profile pic. But at the same time, they're like so perfectly like situated, they could be framed. They have more of that fine art element to it, in the sense of what 12 was alluding to, which I didn't even know until he just brought this up, which was the way in which they handpicked them and curated them. I think that for me, when I first saw that, I didn't know that, but there was something different about these, for example, than than the 9,000 other projects coming out every other day. So in addition, from like more like a tech, you know, chart analysis, although I don't have that background per se, what 12 was also talking about too, you know, seeing the buyers, seeing the buying and the volume. I don't know, I thought F it. And actually, I got my first one like 10 days ago or whatever it was. I really loved it. And then I tried to mint art blocks curated on Monday, and I failed. I let the Dutch go a little too far, and my transaction failed. So I was like pissed, and I had like 7 or 8 ETH ready for art blocks, and I was going to buy the sculpture on secondary, and then I was like, you know what, no. And I looked around, and I went right back to TOADZ, and I just like rage bought 4 TOADZ essentially, and that was it.
Timing. Thank goodness the Dutch auction screwed you, right? Because
yeah, right.
These did. So my friend Paper D, who's been on the show, he's really, really good investor. He's also a fantastic artist. He just did an airdrop for the MetaKey holders, which is really good. But he was big on the TOADZ, and he was like forcing me when it started falling back towards 1. He's like, sell something, get a TOAD, just go, like whatever. And so I had it on my radar, and then I was looking the same time the F render verse was falling, and I'm just looking like, do I do one? And analysis paralysis, I didn't do any. I just didn't. And now I'm looking at it and I'm like, well, that's a huge miss. And then you just look at the strength of the community, and to what 12 was saying, you know, if you wallet peep the people who are holding this, one of the things that's really interesting about this project in particular is that these people don't have to sell it. This is a lot of the holders aren't the type of people who are just going to be in and out and try and make a little bit of money, which is good and bad, right? Because if people are planning on flipping, then you know, you can hopefully get back in. But my concern, and I've made a lot of bad calls in my day, but a call I'm pretty comfortable making is that you know, when apes were at 8, I was like, oh, they're gonna fall back to 4, and then I'll buy an 8. And I'm doing the same thing now, where I'm like, okay, it's around 4. If it falls back to 2, I'll get one. And now I'm worried like these become the next Kongs, right? There's a whole different level of projects that a lot of people just don't even talk about. And I feel like this is heading on that trajectory where it's going to avoid all of the other stuff. So it's really interesting to see the momentum. So 12, how many of these are you up to, and what's your strategy short-term and long-term with these?
I'm just gonna hold. I mean, I'm just, yeah, like I only remember I haven't sold a single one. This was the first one I sold. Wow. Because all I wanted to do was try to build the Ghost community bigger, because I thought more people, you know, more ideas, more floating. I mean, I was like, okay, it's cool that we have this little secret society, but that was just like, and it was funny, like no one else wanted to sell there because everyone's like, dude, he's, you know, going to the moon. So, I mean, yeah, I mean, my other 2, I don't know, probably because I had 2 more Ghosts. So I guess those now are worth a lot. So I'll probably, I don't know, hold those for years. No clue. I mean, I don't see TOADZ as like a short-term like thing. And I'm not actually 12, but I like to call myself 12 because I trade like a 12-year-old with a credit card. Like, I don't really have any like investment thesis or anything. I just thought they look cool, and I just kind of ape, and I'm just going to keep going with the vibe.
And I actually have to make a clarification, and I'm really bad at this. Shout out to Donald. I said he was papering a walk at 0.6, which was factually inaccurate, in fact, false. So shout out to him. But I just did it again, saying that the floor was around 4, and the floor is at 6. So I was wrong by 50%. And so I want to make sure to clarify that. I don't think it's going back.
I don't want to interrupt, but I did want to show you, like, from the fine art kind of perspective. I'm not saying it's perfect, and I wish I actually had different paper armadas, but can I upload this into the type message thing or no? My JPEG?
If you send it to me on Discord.
Oh, yeah, okay, I will. But what I did, I thought was fun, because I know that, like, people who have archetype you know, protect their archetype with various paper armadas, and they protect their cubes and stuff like that. So I thought it would be kind of fun to do something with the toads and some of the other art block stuff that I have. So I just sent it to you on Discord. But yeah, so like I tried to arrange it, and I just feel like it would look pretty cool once you have it up. It would look pretty cool, like, I don't know if framed all as one, but maybe I'll get some different paper armadas actually that kind of match better and do like a nice, I don't know, collage of sorts and have it printed out. I think that that would be fun. And I think that's why toads kind of have this different element to it where collectors can kind of get really, you know, playful and stuff with what they have in the color palette. And all the various kinds of nuances to the space. I feel like that the toads also call out, you know, a lot of homages to CryptoPunks and other projects.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty cool. When you could see like a Warhol type of thing with pop culture and the toads and some of their uniqueness. That's really interesting. I have an off-topic question, just because when I looked at the squares, I just picked up that Rafiq Anadol had the drop. I didn't know it was on Flow when I picked it up, but he did. If you buy 3 of his squares, you get all 3 prints, and they're signed by him. And so, and it was 900 per NFT. So for less than an ETH, you get 3 NFTs and you get 3 signed prints. They're all one collection. So it was like, when you think of the future of art and the future of fine art, like what you just showed, I think the squares really resonated with me. So it's really interesting to just see how you can turn some of these into new, unique things, and I like that a lot. What else did you guys want to talk about this project? Anything we're missing?
Do you want to talk about your socks more, 12, or is it?
Yeah. So about like 2 weeks, maybe 1 week in, people were started talking about, you know, the winter's coming and the pond's going to freeze. So the toads need some warm feet. And I've realized that there's a big cold feet conundrum. And so I partnered with like a bunch of some really smart people. Like, it's actually kind of ridiculous, the people who jumped into this. I mean, it started as the most stupidest idea, but now like we have like one of the guys who's been like handling like the loom lock like distribution. Like we got like literally like some like the top people, like the top minds working on what to do. So we created a website. You can go on to it now, socks.exchange, SOCKZ, because that's cool and hip. And if you own a toad and you're able to mint a pair of socks, and so it's an NFT. And soon we're going to have the ability that you can redeem it. And all you got to do is just burn it and give us your address. We're working on a kind of claim page, trying to fix up the UI for that. That's been a little tough. And you give us your address. We're trying to work out some kind of like decentralized way of grabbing your address and send it to like a distribution company. And we will send the socks to your door, and you can just wear the socks, and you don't have to pay a single dollar. It's all like 100% free. Though this is where it gets interesting. I mean, I don't know if of course anyone in crypto has seen the Matrix. We're kind of when we offered a redemption page, it's going to be like a red pill, blue pill type thing, because we're going to announce this at the time when we launch redemption. So we're just stay tuned. We're going to have an option for you to keep your socks and to keep in the metaverse and do something with that. So it kind of is like that Damien Hirst thing, like the currency, where it's like, you know, what is worth more? Like, do you want to have a physical pair, or do you want to redeem it for something else that's in the metaverse, and you can never redeem that version? Or do you just chose to be true neutral and just to keep the socks? So it really gives people kind of 3 routes to play, like do nothing, red pill, you know, stay in the metaverse forever, or blue pill, turn into a real pair of socks and you don't get to explore Wonderland with us. So we also, for the Ghost DAO thing, we also create a pair of these cool ghost socks. We'll have a website up for that soon. And so anyone who contributed, we're just for free. Another thing, just as a gift from us, we're just going to ship them a pair of ghost socks. So, I mean, that's kind of our model right now is we're just going to give stuff to people for free and then find ways to make money later. I mean, it's kind of like, I think that's kind of a thing about crypto that kind of allows you to do crazy stuff like that. And that's why I think that as we start growing into like a bigger, because we have more ideas and we'll have artists and some manufacturers. We've been talking about, we got some great people who been starting to like help us out and contribute. We're considering new ways to kind of distribute goods. And I mean, I think that we can start, fighting some of these like meat space companies because they have shareholders to please, and we're just a bunch of degens in a Discord. I mean, to give a little like backstory, because I don't like to give backstory by myself, but like I've had a meat space job, and that was boring, and I was like, you know what, like screw it, like the future is here, like what we call like the metaverse. And maybe the metaverse is not going to be like the VR Ready Player One, but it's going to be stuff like Twitter, like the verification, you have the profile picture. So I think there actually is value in keeping some of these items, like maybe you can't wear it in a video game, but just kind of holding it, because there's less, I would say, slippage of trying to sell a virtual good than a physical good. I mean, I hate like the reason why I got into NFTs and not into like physical art is I hate people. Like I don't want to like take like a Monet and go talk to a person, get an art dealer in and go through Christie's and do all that bullshit. Like it's so great. I was able to take this, just list it on, and like in an hour, actually I think less than an hour, it sold for like $400,000. Like you can't fucking do that in there. And I just like on a whim, I was like, I'm gonna list this today. It took me 5 minutes to list it, and it took me like $60 in like a transaction fee. And the fees, like I think, how much did I pay? So I got like almost $400,000. I paid like $9,000 for the listing fees and stuff like that.
Right.
Which I know some people in like the trad art world have like some connections, and some of these art dealer fees are ridiculous. So I mean, that's why I say is like, if people say like, why is NFTs worth so much and why there's so much volume? It's like, well, people love art, and for the first time ever, people have an easy way to sell art. I mean, it's fucking brilliant NFTs.
Xcopy said something interesting on Twitter a while back, that it's like, how do you become an artist? Like, decide you're an artist. It's that simple. And so like we're in this new decentralized space where toads and everything can become fine art and can break the mold. I agree with everything you're saying about taking a different approach. And when you think about just the way the world is moving with automation, ML, and everything, it's like leisure is going to become a massive export. And I believe that NFTs are the vehicle on which leisure as an export is going to become more and more mainstream. And that's really, really insightful thoughts that you had. I'm curious, there was a question here about the zombie toads. Is there any affiliation between the CrypToadz and zombie toads?
Zero affiliation.
I have 2 toads.
I mean, I'm not saying that's a bad thing either. I mean, there's no.
I got them cheap. I was like, FOMO.
Xcopy also said copies of the original make the original more valuable. So there you go.
I mean, there's no affiliation with the Ghost DAO and the socks. I mean, the socks was all community run. We have none of them helping us out. We just kind of are just a bunch of just dumbasses and decide to give people socks for free. And so
a lot of socks at this point, right?
Yeah, we've had almost 4,000 minted. And if you guys want to, because I would love everyone to roll up a pair of socks. We're selling them on OpenSea right now. I mean, there are a lot of people who took their socks and then kind of listed it on OpenSea. So if you guys, I've seen a few whales try to sweep the floor. I've been watching guys' wallets. It was actually the first thing I did after I got that ETH was I went and just bought another pair of socks. kind of bullish, but not here to show my bags. But, yeah, but
never been said before ever.
Yes, I mean, one thing I forgot to mention is, so Gremplin is kind of a G. He put everything under like a CC0 license, which Creative Commons, which basically gives anybody the ability to just build crap off it, and anyone can. There's no copyright infringement. I mean, I think that's the future. I think I'm not gonna call names on any projects, but I think that if you're selling the IP of your project to Hollywood, that's not very punk, is it?
Yeah, I wanted to get.
He was being punny. I like it.
I wanted to get cufflinks, and I talked to somebody who does that, and she was like, "Well, they're just too small to work with the enamel, but I'm kind of on a mission to find cufflinks for one of my toads."
Before New York, right?
Well, I don't think it'll make it in time, but maybe. She said it would take a couple weeks if they could do it. So it would be like, I'm going to Art Blocks next week, so I wanted stuff for that, but.
Yeah, I'm gonna try my hardest to get the socks before New York because I can't wait to pull up like in the toad socks.
You're gonna dox yourself in the toad socks.
I mean, I hope there's more than one person wearing them, else I failed.
All right. Well, any parting thoughts? I have a hard stop with my buddy Rob is up here where we're actually actively planning a VIP event at NFT NYC, and both of you are invited if 12 is willing to dox themselves. Or we can just invite enough people so that certain people don't have to. But also, we're going to be throwing a happy hour VIP event at NFT NYC for anyone who owns a NFT culture token or is a member of 2 other Discords and they know who they are. Any final thoughts? I'd love to have you guys back on as this market matures, because when you think about like the core projects and to quote your X copy, how the original becomes more valuable. What else is really interesting is that we're starting to see some strong independent communities start popping up, right? First it was CryptoPunks, then it was apes, then everything copied apes, but then Kongs kind of broke out and did their thing. I feel the same way about this, where it's different enough. It's a different type of persona. They all equally care about crypto, but it's a different interpretation, having a little bit more fun and still creating generational wealth. So open invitation anytime you guys want. Any final thoughts that you guys want to share?
I think we need the Toads and the Seaham community to also join forces. I feel like they are on the same wavelength.
Yeah, and I just want to say, like, vibe. Like, have a good day, guys. I don't see you guys at NFT NYC.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. I can't wait. I'm going to go look at these socks in the secondary right now. Have a good one.